See.
Hello everybody, welcome to our series Nuggets. There is an idealism that says that open eyes are always the real windows towards the first impression. When it comes to presentation logic, the fourth building blocks of information systems, we're looking at user experience and user interface. User experience, it is about interactive designs. It is about building the best fitted scenarios. It is a model that represents how your phone is going to be looking at. It represents in a monochromatic image in which you have either a gray or black and white. When it comes to the user interface, it is about the physical design of your system and how it is going to interact with other third-party systems or whether external entities, the people, which could be your end users, such as your suppliers or your customers. When it comes to the user interface, always remember that we're looking onto how the presentation logic is going to integrate with the application model, with the database model through the data access logic, and how is it going to integrate with third-party applications. So always we need to remember that a user interface consists of the main important principles. So when it comes to principles of the user interface, right, so we're looking on to the layout. The layout, it represents your page. The big top of the page, you have the system navigation, which consists of your menu tabs. You have your URL, where you add your uniform resource indicator, which is, it adds the protocol, the HTTP protocol, followed by the period, followed by the domain name, followed by the period and the .com, right, followed by your .org, your education, slash your file directory, slash your index.html home page. And then you have as well your menu tabs. And then you have the middle of the page, which consists of your side navigation on the left hand side. You have on the right hand side is your page content, right? And at the end you have the status bar of your page. So when it comes onto the frequent user or the expert, you're going to look onto those clickable items such as your page content, such as your status bar, and so your as well your system navigation, right, and the site navigation, because you keep on serving the internet, you keep serving the websites, you keep on serving, so they have big knowledge and experience in which they will be able to give you remarks to the page. But when it comes to the obvious, when we have a novice users or the infrequent users whom they're still learners, right, so they will be looking basically only onto the top of the page of the home page or your screen or the system, right, but they will not looking on the status bar or any other interfaces, so they will not be able to give you with any remarks. So the first categories of the principles, as you have seen, is the layout. The second part, which is very important, is the content of the page. So the content, the topic you should be addressing. For example, today if I'm talking about cars and sport cars, so I should be, all the content should be expressed in that topic. Should be talking about education, should be talking about food, right, and should be talking about hotel reservations. The third category is what we call them is the assistics. Assistic, it means even if you're today an expert UX UI web designer, you need to make also the space of the white spaces you have. You should always make use of that empty spaces, the font colors. So for example, the web designer should consider if an old person, so the font size should be of 10 points, while if you're looking on another person, should be of 12 points, all right? So the controversial of the font size, the colors, it should be always a big consideration for the web designer. The third part is the consistency. How simple is your page? Today, when I'm surfing the internet, let's say I'm applying for a certain position, I might find it very simple just to add a couple of lines on my name, on my final name, last name, and the family name, right, and my age, my nationality, the sex, and all that, and then upload the CV, and then I want to click submit. Others, they are hectic load, right? They're not easy, they're not simple. I have to keep on adding the education, and then I have to get the experience, and then the skills, and then the language. So it's a hectic load, and if the person feels panic, right? And that will cause it what we call a session timeout, right? So it's very important that the UX and UI they think as the principal, as if they are the end users and how simple they can serve. Other are brilliant and genius, right, is that they might drag and drop from your social media like LinkedIn or Facebook all of your info and they place it up onto the resume or the application form, and just you have to submit them, right? But again, the UX UI needs to make sure that the data that is being fed, they are fed into the correct the text boxes. For example, if I'm adding into the company name, it should be the company name. It shouldn't be my rule, job rule, and then the job rule should be fitting the job rule, right? The other thing is that you need to provide with easiness of how to use the portal. For example, if I'm looking how to register on the page, so the registration should be easily appearing to my site, right? How I should be able to navigate with the site navigation, it should be always simple. So this is the most important principles that the UX and UI need to look. Now, remember that always the UX and UI plays a very critical role when it comes to system integration. You need to know how it's going to integrate with the backend, the application, and the database through the data access logic, as well how is it going to have an interface, a GUI or open interface integrating with a third-party application. Again, UX and UI, you work handful shake with the business analyst, where the business analysts provide with the use case development through the ecosystem of the business, and the UX UI provide with the use case development, in which he builds later on what we call the interface structure design, which presents basically the home page, how the skeleton of the home page is going to be looking like. For example, there will be a main menu and there'll be a sub menu, and in the main menu you will have a numbering and you have the name of the form, right, representing as well the hyperlink from one of the subtopic to another subtopic, right? Once the ISD has been built, the interface structure design, it is the next time to move on to the what we call the interface standard design. That is your template, right? So how the template is going to be presented, the menu tabs, the chronological order of the menu tabs. For example, I have the first the file, then it goes ahead and the menu, right? And it keeps on moving that way. And then we look on to what we call the interface prototype. So with a prototype, it might be in a form of a decorative, static prototype, dynamic prototype, could be an HTML static prototype represented to the client so that he will be able to evaluate, right, the web page and how is it going to look from the pattern we're going to be used, from the design, from the object, right, they're going to be used. Now, when it comes to evaluation, you always the UX and UI use what we call a metaphor. A metaphor is a model representing as a sample how the web page is going to be looking. If the client sees that this is what is needed, then we move further for a real web page, which is the final delivery web page. So always remember that when it comes to UX and UI, right, we're always looking for portability, we're looking for creativity, we're looking for mentability, and remember there's always a handshake between the business analyst, UX, and UI. It had been a pleasure today for presenting the UX UI topic, right? Till we meet next week, this is Mohamed Zaku, freelance project manager officer at Softtech Lake, PMP trainer, Soft Academy, Clare University, and Azhar University. Thank you very much. It had been my close pleasure. Thanks.